Welcome to CES 2018. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And boy, we have some TekThing coming for you.
Oh, yes, we do.
There are evening events where you walk into a ballroom at a casino
They serve you free liquor.
See, they serve her free liquor. I get bad coffee if I'm lucky. And there's like 200 vendors.
Yeah.
They all get like a little picnic table, and you walk and you search.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you find things that are interesting, but not enough to do a 3-minute segment on.
Exactly.
So welcome to our first CES 2018 segments, random things we thought were cool, but didn't want to do 3 minutes on. Do you want to start?
I'll start with the first one.
Okay.
So I found a water bottle. So this water bottle is called LifeFuels Smart Water Bottle. It basically encourages Smart water bottle. Mm-hmm. It encourages you to drink more water. At least that's what they say. So luckily it is BPA free for everybody out there that's a health nut, kind of like me, and it's durable against drops in case you're clumsy, kind of like me. And the thing about this is that on the bottom it has a magnetic enclosure, and it fits 3 different fuel pods. That's what these little things are called. Fuel pods. Yeah, they're basically little substances that stick into the bottom of it.
Substances like vitamin C or
yes.
I don't know, protein squeeze or whatever horrible things.
And they are naturally flavored, so they don't have any kind of artificial sweeteners or anything. They do have natural sweeteners, and they are low calorie also for health nuts. So these can be anything between like super fruits, like tropical ones like mango and things like that, to chamomile and white tea. And they have about 7 or 8 different flavors that you can choose from right now at release. And those are going to cost around $7 or so.
Okay. I'm reading this over your shoulder. Let me see if I got this right. Instead of going to the weird crystallized beverage section of your local supermarket and putting a teaspoon of something in your water bottle, you're going to buy a water bottle.
Yes.
And it's going to
it comes with 3 of them.
And it's going to put flavor into your water.
Yes.
Like, do you squeeze it, or do you have to run an app to make your water bottle work?
So they actually have a button on the water bottle,
Okay,
and supposedly it stays charged for about 7 days, and you just simply hit it to whichever flavor you want, and then you can adjust how much flavor you get into your water.
Hold on.
And it disperses it into your water.
Can I borrow your battery pack? I got to charge my water bottle.
Charge your water bottle, exactly. And luckily you can manually set like how much you want to dispense, or the other cool thing is you can pair it with a wearable like a Fitbit.
Okay.
So it will notice whenever you're done with a workout or something like that, and it will automatically disperse whatever kind of flavor you want to take after you do workouts.
So it's not. So I always think, oh, it'll give you potassium or vitamin D or vitamin E.
Oh no, this is like flavored stuff like Red Bull except natural.
All natural Red Bull.
How exciting, yes.
While we're talking about water, having had the experience of coming home from a weekend and having 2 feet of water in a basement.
Oh no.
Let's talk about the Guardian Leak Prevention System. So Guardian, of course, has statistics. Insurance companies say they get 14,000 water damage claims every year. It costs about $5 billion annually.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever had water damage in your house, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh yeah, pipe leaked in the bathroom, and it was $8 grand. Thanks a lot.
It's not fun.
In any case, so when it comes, it's 3 pieces of hardware.
Okay.
There's the water valve controller, so it clamps onto a water pipe. Now, it wouldn't actually work in my house because the water valve is outside and it's not weatherproof. I'd have to add one of those basic quarter turn on-off switches into the water pipe.
Okay.
And then if you can turn a clamp, you can basically install this thing. Turn the clamp, plug it into the wall, attach it to the Wi-Fi, and then there's 3 water detectors in the box. Now, there's insurance guidelines are like, we want one next to the toilet in the bathroom, and one by the hot water heater, and one in the kitchen. And basically they're little white, puck-like things. They're claiming something crazy like a 15-year battery life.
Okay.
And they have little sensors on the bottom so that when the water rises, the sensor goes off and it tells the water valve controller to turn the water valve off. And they also have little tiny sensors that you can slide under appliances or in areas that are otherwise hard to reach.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
It is cool, actually. I'm down with this. My favorite part, though, is there's, along with the water detectors automatically bonding with your water valve controller, you also have an optional siren you can purchase.
Oh, of course.
I just want a voice that calls out, flooding!
That might be really nice if you have like a large household and you don't necessarily have access or go into the area where your water tank is all the time.
Well, a big thing, right? The nightmare is that you're away at work.
You're away, yeah.
Or you're away on a vacation.
Oh, that's true. Like your neighbor could hear it.
Yeah. Or if there's an earthquake, it may be days before we can get back to the house.
That's really cool.
Or, for example, you get the idea, right? So there is an app.
Okay.
It does notifications. It does remote control. One of the things I love about if 2 or 3 of the water there's going to be water detectors shake.
Yeah.
It assumes there's an earthquake and automatically shuts the water off. Yeah.
Oh, that's super useful for us in the Bay Area.
Yes. If you're on the Pacific Rim and the ground shakes, this is a good thing. So they're available now.
Okay.
Just started shipping on Amazon.com. They're coming to Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware.
Nice.
GetGuardian.com is the website, and it's $399 for the water valve controller and 3 water detectors.
Cool. And
no price on the Siren.
And just a reminder, of course, since a lot of these prices are announced later on, we'll put links in the show notes to all of the websites where you can find out more details about the products.
Yeah.
I have another smart product for you. This one is awesome. I just hope that it actually happens.
Uh-oh.
Yes. It is called the ForwardX Robotics CX1. It is carry-on size luggage that is supposed to follow you around an airport. And I say supposed to, I will get to that in a second.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Come on. So it's the world's first self-driving intelligent carry-on, at least that's what they quote. And it uses facial recognition to figure out who you are. It auto-follows you. It uses obstacle avoidance to make sure it doesn't run into, like, I don't know, like other people in the airport.
Nothing says lawsuit like your luggage carrying robot.
And it also uses gesture control. So you can like tell it to follow, and then it's supposed to follow you around the airport. Yeah, it's cool.
So it's not actually it's not actually a luggage carrying robot.
No.
It's luggage that is.
It's a box on wheels
that drives itself.
that drives itself, basically.
So basically,
wheels.
you're in love
It's
with
awesome.
this because it looks like one of the droids in the back corner of Star Wars.
Yeah, the black one does, definitely.
Oh
It looks
my
like one of the
goodness.
bad Star Wars characters. So it also includes this little anti-theft security system where it will buzz a little bracelet that you wear on your wrist if it gets too far away from you. So if somebody steals it while you're in the airport,
Right.
it will buzz you to look behind you and see that it's
geofenced.
gone. Yeah, it also has a built-in battery hub so you can charge different products, and it has a security camera on it. And supposedly...
Hold up. Can't leave yet. Gotta charge my luggage.
Got to charge your luggage. And supposedly it's only going to weigh 4 kilograms, which is 8 pounds for
Okay.
us Americans.
As long as it's carrying itself.
As long as it's carrying itself, right.
How much?
So it's not out yet. They don't have a price point yet. Supposedly it's going to come out in the summer. The one that they showed at CES though was just a prototype, and honestly it was a little janky. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, they said that it didn't work on carpet very well, and sometimes it lost connection when they were testing it on a cement floor, and it is kind of slow. So if you're in a hurry to get to your flight, it's not going to work out so well for you. But man, if they can figure out the kinks with this thing, I want one. As long as it's under the price that I can afford.
When you're bringing back 200 pounds of Sailor Moon artifacts from Japan, you just
Exactly.
don't want to drag that
Exactly.
thing around.
Legit.
Hip Air.
Hip Air.
Hip Air. It looks like a self-inflating life vest, but the Heatlight Hip Air Bag for seniors is, and I quote, and I'm going to read, the first device that uses airbag technology to prevent hip fractures and help seniors keep their mobility and freedom, which is a good thing because a huge percentage of seniors who break a hip basically die not too long afterwards.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So they're claiming they reduced by 90% the impact force during a fall, and it's pretty
Wow.
crazy, right? Look at the video right now. You strap it on like a belt.
Yeah.
You know, it's got sensors inside of it. It's got an algorithm, and the numbers on this are crazy. They claim it detects the fall within the first 200 milliseconds. The airbag is inflated by CO2, 280 milliseconds. The ground
Whoa.
impact is 400 milliseconds, well after the airbag is inflated. 4 sizes, and then you've got like the 2 lateral airbags.
Yeah.
There's USB charging, of course, and the one USB charge is supposed to last for 7 days, and it is reusable. So if it deploys, because you know your beloved older person trips, or your
Right.
beloved, or you can recharge it with a CO2 cartridge. Basically,
no
a replaceable
way.
CO2 cartridge like the ones they use for life vests.
You know, it sounded ridiculous, but actually that could be really, really useful.
Having had family members that broke hips,
Me too.
I'm down with it.
Me too.
I don't know if
Yep.
I could get, my grandmother actually wear one of these. It is not the most fashion-forward device.
If it allowed my grandmother to keep her independence and keep on living by herself, I think that she would be willing to try it.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. TekThing.com is the place to find all of our episodes and information on how to subscribe. If you're a YouTube kind of guy or gal, go to youtube.com/TekThing. We want to hear what you want to see at CES 2018, so you can email us. Ask
Yes.
at TekThing.com, tweet at Patrick Norton.
Or at Snubs, we are here all week, so let us know what you want to see. You can also check out facebook.com/TekThing.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, Shannon Morse here from CES 2018 and TekThing, and today the show floor is opening over at the Las Vegas Convention Center. But before I head over there today, I wanted to get this video out. It's super early in the morning, but I gotta get this edited and out to you since this was just announced this morning. It's called Razer Project Linda. And yes, it is a dock for the Razer phone. But here's what makes it cool. This prototype allows your Razer phone to be docked into this laptop form factor so you can use it with a full-size keyboard. And the dock doesn't run any kind of operating system. Honestly, it's a dumb dock. All it does is really give you a keyboard and a monitor that looks like a Razer Blade Stealth. And it runs off the operating system of the phone, so in this case it would be Android because the Razer phone runs off Android. You take your Razer phone, you plug it into the USB-C port, and it fits perfectly flush with the dock so it doesn't jar against your hands while you're typing away, and then you can use the phone screen as a mouse. Now alternatively, the phone screen can also be used as a second screen, which could be super useful. I'm kind of imagining using this as a editing rig for an Android application and using the first screen, the phone screen, for assets and graphics, and then moving those onto the 1080p screen to actually do all the editing in a timeline. I think that would be really cool. And they also gave me this great example of using Adobe's Lightroom, since they already have an Android app for it and it's fully functional, and it would be really useful to be able to grab your photos from down below on the phone, move them up, and then actually do your editing on a 1080p screen. The keyboard is shifted up a little bit from the original Razer Blade Stealth since it is the same kind of form factor, and to actually power on the dock, you use the power button on the phone. Again, it's a 1080p screen, a full RGB keyboard with a few limitations on customization of lighting, and it's really great to type on. It's almost exactly like the regular laptop which I have at home. There is a battery built into the dock too, so it will charge your phone while it is plugged in, which is actually pretty nice. It's got a headphone jack on one side, it's got a USB port, and it takes Type-C for charging, and I will admit it is very lightweight too. It almost feels it's just over 2 pounds, I believe. Now, of course, being the hacker I am, I definitely brought up the ability to use other phones with this device because I have a Google Pixel 2 XL, as you know, and I would love to be able to use something like this with the Razer Project Linda. And you can do that if you have some kind of Type-C adapter so you can actually plug it in. However, if your phone doesn't come with some kind of desktop capability, it will just mirror it onto the monitor. Now, if you don't want to use an adapter, of course, if you have a small phone, you could also 3D print a little dock and stick it inside their dock in the Project Linda. I think that would be kind of cool too. In total, this kind of reminds me of the Motorola Atrix, which we had a long time ago and I used to hack on with a Raspberry Pi, and it was really fun, so I really enjoy the form factor of having this kind of dock in a laptop scenario that's really easy to take with you on travel. Now, with other Razer prototypes, this one has no ship date, it has no price, so we don't even know if it's going to come to market. I think it should, but if it's too expensive, nobody's going to buy it since it's just a dock. However, since it has some really useful use case scenarios, if you're an Android user, this would be a really great option. I'm excited to see what Razer also has in store at CES 2018. If you want me to stop by their booth and do a little Razer booth tour, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, you can find all of our content over at youtube.com/TekThing, and you can tweet me, I'm @Snubs. For more content, also check out TekThing.com and Patrick Norton. I'll see you later. Bye.
TekThing CES 2018. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Patrick Norton.
Hey, I am Robert Heron.
And that means we're going to talk about the best televisions and visual technology here at the show this year. A lot of people have been going like, is it time? Is it time to buy a TV? Is it time to buy a TV?
Oh, yeah.
LED's dead, right?
No, or LCD with LED backlighting. That's not dead either. I have seen demos at this show. This year, you will see LCD panels meeting and or exceeding the visual characteristics of an OLED.
Would that be Samsung producing those, or can you not actually discuss this without being lawyered up?
I am rolling through the documents that I have signed. There are, what Samsung has shown off was their 85-inch premium TV.
That's the 8K with the artificial intelligence. It's upscaling the 4K?
That's something they've already talked about, and it has a lot of the technologies that'll be coming out later this year in the smaller panels as well. They have done things, honestly, to improve that quality to levels I thought were impossible until this show. So stay tuned for that. LG, on the other hand, they have several new models this year. Actually, it's just going from the 7 series to the 8 series.
Right.
The main difference is going to be internal processing for the TVs themselves.
It's no longer the same processing in all our models. They've got like the A7 and the A9 processors.
Yeah, and the only main difference there really, it comes down to a feature related to calibration. And what LG has done is incorporate something called access to the 3D lookup tables of the TV that allow for more detailed calibration. When I work on Pro monitors, I'm able to write a specific calibration to that monitor in an internal lookup table, and to modify that. It contains many more points than you can do, say, with a 2-point or a 20-point white balance. We're talking like, if you really wanted to, 1,024-step grayscale adjustment.
Wow.
You're not going to do that. That'd take weeks, and there's no practical reason. However, the ability to access that LUT table, is the lookup table, is something no other TV's really offered. You get that on Pro stuff, but not consumer. Now we're seeing across the line access to that through software like Portrait Display's CalMan software, and it makes my job easier. It also allows me to calibrate every preset, including gaming mode and other things, much easier and much more effective.
So the processing is not going to be as, or the adjustments for the processing are not going to be as sophisticated on the A7 series processors, but they should still, the panels are still pretty much the same, and they should look pretty amazing.
I think they will be visually indistinguishable after calibration, and of course they're going to have great out-of-the-box performance. LG also had a couple of prototype displays. They have an 8K OLED that they're showing off in their display room, as well as a roll-up OLED. I believe it was 65 inches.
This is the universal sign for 65-inch roll-up television.
And with a plastic screen, this thing can literally roll itself into a case not much bigger than a sound bar. Now, beyond that advantage of just a compact TV that can get out of the way, the interesting thing is that you can unroll it to different aspect ratios. So say you're going to watch a widescreen movie. Why unroll the whole 16:9 when you can just roll it out to, say, 235, 240 to 1 and have that image with no black bars? And that's just built right in by the nature of it being able to kind of change its height.
I'm down with that, that's neat, but is that going to show up anytime in the next 3 or 5 years? I mean, that was an early demo from LG's panel kind of group.
Well, a couple of years ago, they showed off an 18-inch panel that had similar characteristics. Now they're showing a 65-inch version.
So it's getting closer.
I'd say next year.
10,000 nits from a television in the Sony booth. What's going on with that?
That has a lot going for it. One, it's incredibly bright. However, when you stand in front of it looking at natural looking content like outdoor scenes and things like that, it is one of the most window-like displays I've ever seen. And with the current HDR format, the max brightness is 10,000 nits, and this TV can match that. So when it's reading that content off the disc and looking at every specific part of the scene going, oh, I'm gonna put 6,000 nit highlight here or an 8,000 highlight here, it can just do it with no what they call tone mapping, or where other TVs would have to adjust that picture characteristic to match its own performance. This TV simply has the performance of the spec and has to do very little processing to show that. Probably won't look good with a DVD, but for ultra high def Blu-ray, that was an impressive display, and they were also showing off a chip that was capable of doing 8K upscaling effectively.
So from 10,000 nits, let's talk about whirling LEDs on a stick in a wall of color.
Kind of a surprise. I was over in a booth called Hypervision, at least that's the name of the product, and if you could picture those LED strips that would rotate in like a fan design where it would show like a digital clock kind of hanging in space, that persistent of vision effect, they've taken this to a completely different level where using like a cross-bladed 4-way LED fine RGB strip and enough of them to create a grid, they're able to create up to about 150 inches of just dynamic, bright, I would say more on signage in terms of the overall picture quality.
But you're staring at these sticks, it looks like a giant coat hanger stretched out, and all of a sudden it's a crazy full color
When they start
display.
rotating and it looks like you're kind of wondering what it is you're looking at, but then it lights up and it is just eye-grabbing, compelling imagery that just consumes the crowd around it. And it was really cool tech, and I want to say the company is Kino Mo.
TCL and HiSense. HiSense we didn't really expect a lot from this year, but they seem to be coming back with a vengeance, and of course TCL hoping to hold on to. They were sort of the champions of best buy or the best deal on a 4K HDR television this year.
That P607 from last year will become the 6 series this year with improved design. Just overall, the frame and everything is just going to look more, I'd say, better upgraded in terms of just how it looks. Technology-wise, internally, it's going to remain about the same. It's still going to be great. However, they're also bringing in the new Roku 8 software too across the entire line of their Roku TVs. So if you had one from 2014 on, it's going to get the new Roku 8 software that incorporates a lot of cool features, especially for people doing over-the-air reception.
One of your favorite TVs came from HiSense this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. Their flagship for this year, the H10E, they're claiming 1,000 zones of local dimming, 2,000 nits.
Local dimming is what was everywhere on the show floor this year, so local dimming's back. Just want to say that.
Off-axis performance looked terrific. It had a great way of minimizing blooming or other artifacts like that. The punch, though, of having that dark black level with that peak brightness made color of all the displays they showed off, that's the one that grabs your eye. However, they did have a step-down model called the H9 Plus. It was damn close, so I'm really curious to see what the final pricing will be.
Okay, we don't know what the final pricing is.
Not yet, but it's coming soon. But they're, judging by what we've seen from them so far, they are super competitive on that market.
Right.
So these will be affordable high-end technologies.
Going to be a good year for buying televisions. Get more advice, HeronFidelity.com, or check out the podcast we do about home theater and audio, avxl.com. You are watching right now TekThing.com, and you should watch more TekThing.com from CES 2018 at youtube.com/TekThing or TekThing.com. I'm Patrick Norton.
Hey, I am Robert Heron.
Thanks so much for watching.
Hey everyone, I'm Shannon Morse here from CES 2018 and TekThing, and boy do I have something cool to share with you today. Last night I went to CES Unveiled and I saw a lot of really nifty products, but there was one that really stood out to me, and it's called the Gemini by Planet Computers. Now, when you look at this thing, it's marketed towards people that want PDA devices, you know, personal digital assistants that we had back in the 90s, those kind of devices, but in a new form factor. So it's got an integrated keyboard, it fits in your pocket or your purse if you're a lady like me, and it's got a nice metal design. It's a clamshell with a QWERTY keyboard, and that's what's really cool about this. Luckily, it doesn't weigh a lot. It's only 308 grams, and it has this very small form factor, so it's really nice for day-to-day use. Now, they are touting this for an international market, so they're going to have the keyboard layout available for 30 different languages, which is really cool, and I am curious if they have a Japanese one. And on the inside, the specs of this are a 10-core processor, 64 gigs of storage, which is pretty good, and 4 gigs of RAM. So obviously you're not going to be able to do a lot of really high power processing on this, but the battery life, and honestly I want to review this because I don't know if it's actually going to last this long. They told me it would last a couple of days with normal usage, and it's got a 4220 milliamp hour battery inside. I don't know if it's actually going to last that long, so we'll see if we can get one in to actually review it. It has this really large touchscreen. It's 2160 by 1080 and 403 pixels per inch, so it actually looks really, really good in person. And the thing that I really like about this, and this is why I wanted to focus on it today, is because it runs Android 7.1, which is great, okay, that's cool, but it also dual boots Debian Linux OS. So you can run a Linux operating system on this teeny tiny thing with a clamshell, full-size QWERTY keyboard, and you can fit it in your pocket. So all the hackers out there that are watching the show right now know exactly where I'm going with this. Just think about it, like you're on a pen test, you go to a company somewhere, and you can't bring in a laptop because they're gonna notice, of course. You wanna bring in something that's small and discreet so that you can get into that server room and do your pen test like they want you to do. Think about it. Put this with your Wi-Fi Pineapple, your USB rubber ducky, disclaimer, I work for hack5.org, and you have a full pen testing gear scenario on hand with you, full-fledged Linux. That's cool. And not to mention they have USB-C charging, and they also have a dongle that allows you to get Ethernet out of the thing. Okay, I gotta admit, I'm kind of sold on the thing, but I really want to get it in and actually review it and see how it works in person. So they're going to be selling this for 2 different prices. It'll be $499 for Wi-Fi only, or $599 if you want LTE as well. And you can find all the information over at planetcom.co.uk. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I think it was really cool in person, but I gotta get hands-on with it more and see if that battery would actually last, and if I could use this for pen testing scenarios. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and if you want to see more from CES 2018, hit up youtube.com/TekThing, where you can find all of the details from Patrick Norton and I. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.
TekThing CES 2018, Patrick Norton here. Cherry pretty much set the standard for mechanical keys, and a ton of keyboards at CES 2018 either pack original Cherry keys or clones made after Cherry's patents ran out. Now, Cherry hasn't stopped innovating, and their big announcement at CES 2018 is the new Cherry MX low-profile RGB. Now, Cherry says their customers wanted thinner, a low-profile design, and I'm brazenly assuming thinner means more modern-looking, but still mechanical-feeling keyboards. So, Cherry's engineers came up with a 35% thinner key that has the Cherry MX feel. Look at the video. That's 35% video before you snap on the lower profile keycap, which makes it look like half the size. It's a pretty impressive reduction. These keys are way shorter than traditional Cherry MX keys, but they still have 3mm plus of travel, so they're great for typing on. And the keyboards I typed on in their suite, they had a good They felt like a cherry red MX key. I will say the lower height on the keycaps had me thinking it might be a couple of weeks to get up to speed on a new profile, because it's kind of like moving from one laptop to a new laptop. Everything feels a little bit different, but once you get going, it feels pretty good. Now, Cherry chose surface mount LEDs because they feel they are the future, because they're easy for robots to place in line. And then they use a light pipe to glide the light around the stem from the SMD, and they'll have space for surface mount components under the switch for manufacturing. One last thing before we go, Cherry wants you to know that real MX Cherry keys are made in Germany, guaranteed for 50 million keystrokes with no loss of quality, and that you should be careful where you buy your keys, because there are unscrupulous vendors out there that will cheerfully sell you a fake key, one that isn't actually made by Cherry. The new keys are in production now. The first models will show up in Q2 2018 inside of some fabulous looking keyboards, and the pricing will be comparable to existing Cherry MX keys. For more CES 2018, go to youtube.com/TekThing or TekThing.com. I'm Patrick Norton. Thank you so much for watching.
Hey everybody, Shannon Morse here from TekThing and CES 2018, and something very weird happened yesterday. All of the lights in the convention center just went out. The power was dead, and I was in the middle of having a conversation with Panasonic about their new Lumix GH5S. I was really excited about this camera because it's for filmographers, and it's supposed to be really good with low light settings. So I was like, well, I might as well take advantage of the situation, and I got to check it out with low light in the middle of the convention center while the power was out. Perfect timing. So the footage that I'm going to show you is straight out of a Panasonic Lumix GH5S. It was just announced here at CES 2018 officially, and this new one is a mirrorless that's based for filmmakers. So usually we see mirrorless cameras that are focused around photography, not so much filmmakers. And this is the first time that we've seen all of these awesome components for filmmakers in this kind of platform. So it includes a 10.2 megapixel sensor, and while that resolution is a lot lower than what we have seen in some competitors, it also allows for up to a 51,200 ISO for recording that supposedly is touted to give you exceptional quality in those very low light settings without kind of grain or noise that you would normally see. And it would also allow for easy syncing with compatible timecode in and outs, which are just built right in, which is great for multi-camera setups. Plus, this camera also offers an additional dual native ISO mode, which provides low range from 400 up to a high range of 2500 ISO environments. And they also include 14-bit RAW for photography, so if you are a photography nerd like I am, and you work in Lightroom all the time, then you are not forgotten in this beautiful camera. So in this line of cameras, we are seeing 60 FPS at 4K UHD. Now, normally with these cameras, if you're recording at 4K, you would do 30 FPS. Having 60 FPS at 4K is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I've gotten very used to the fact that if I'm recording on my own mirrorless camera, I would run into some kind of time limits. Now, you would hit 10 minutes or more, and you might hit some kind of time limit where your video would just stop recording. With the Panasonic Lumix GH5S, you are supposed to never hit a time limit, whether you're recording in full HD or 4K UHD, which is amazing and very exciting, especially if you're a filmographer or if you're doing a documentary style video, something that requires a long recording time. Now, some other features that they have in the GH5S, but they aren't proprietary to the GH5S. You see them on all sorts of cameras. There's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, facial recognition is nothing new, and tracking autofocus, just to name a few things. And it's going to be available in February, but the price for the body only is going to be $24.99. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but if you are an amateur filmographer or if you're doing documentaries, this might be something that you want to look into because it is so weightless. The body, it weighs nothing, and it's so gorgeous in low light, especially since it takes away a lot of that grain and a lot of that noise that you would normally see at those insanely high ISOs. So I personally had a great time messing around with this camera, even though the lights went out yesterday in the CES Convention Center. And if you want to see more videos like this from CES 2018, especially the unscripted random tours in the darkness of a non-powered convention hall, let me know. You can tweet me at Snubs, or you can check out all of our other videos over at youtube.com/TekThing.
AMD had a big year of the Ryzen CPUs last year, so back in November it was kind of a shock when Intel announced Kaby Lake G, an 8th gen Intel CPU with Radeon Vega M graphics on board. Intel not only launched a new Core 8 series of CPUs here at CES 2018, but they had demo machines with the 8th generation Intel Core processors with Radeon RX Vega M graphics. That's a mouthful. Did I say Core 8? I did. This is a powerful 4-core, 8-thread CPU running up to 3.1 gigahertz or 4.2 gigahertz in turbo mode if you got the thermal capacity to move the heat out of the system. Now, the Radeon RX Vega M graphics are integrated in the package, and I gotta say, it kind of feels like this is an admission that Intel can't catch up on GPU performance for 3D, and a big shot across the bow of Nvidia as far as gaming and content creation laptops go. The Vega M GPU is on its own discrete die inside the CPU, runs data to the processor over 8 lanes of PCI Express 3.0, and connects to 4 gigs of Gen 2 high bandwidth memory. That's more power efficient than GDDR5 over an embedded multi-die interconnect bridge, or EMIB. And I'm never going to say embedded multi-die interconnect bridge again because EMIB is so much easier. So how powerful of a GPU are we talking about here? Up to 24 CUs or compute units and 1,536 stream processors. Intel claims 10 to 40% faster than an Nvidia GTX 1050 and maybe a teeny bit faster than a GTX 1060. Now, that is nowhere near an Nvidia GTX 1080, but the truth is most of you don't buy laptops with 1080 GPUs inside of them. And I gotta say, these 8th gen Intel Core 8 series laptops should cost a ton less than laptops with discrete graphics. Now, 8th gen Intel Core 8 series laptops are coming in the first quarter of 2018 from Dell, HP, and an Intel NUC boxes. We hope to get hands-on. To learn more about them or to, hey, check out the rest of our CES 2018 coverage, go to TekThing.com or YouTube.com/TekThing. I'm Patrick Norton. Thank you so much for watching.
Hey everyone, Shannon Morris here from CES 2018, and I am here with David Randolph from PrintedSolid.com. Hi Dave, thanks for joining.
Oh, my pleasure. Always great to see you, especially out here in Vegas.
I know, yeah. I feel like I never see you anymore, but it was awesome. He recently was on Hack 5 with me. We did a whole series about 3D printing technology, and it was so much fun. So I figured, since we're both in Vegas at CES, we should definitely get you on TekThing as well to talk about what we've seen here at CES on the show floor. Now, you've been spending the past couple of days just chilling in like the 3D printing area. What have you felt about the 3D printers that you've seen this year?
Well, the area is actually a lot smaller than it was last year or the year before that or anything like that.
Really?
It's about a third the size of it was last year.
Wow.
And it's kind of interesting because the key players, the big guys, they're still here.
Yeah.
But what seemed to have disappeared was all of the kind of generic ones, the knockoff ones,
yeah.
and all of those, Kickstarters and Indiegogos, and all of those people have just disappeared from the space as it's been, which is great. In my opinion.
Is it great? Because I feel like when I look at the 3D printing area at CES, like this is where everybody wants to introduce their cool new products. Do you feel like the market for 3D printing is shrinking at all?
I don't think it's shrinking because all it was consistent of was a bunch of really small companies. And what we're seeing is we're actually seeing the kind of the cream rise now. So if the company is still around, we're in a lot better shape.
Okay.
The nice thing is that we saw a lot of 3D printer companies come in, pop up, pop down, pop up, pop down.
We've seen a lot of that.
And that's what the whole industry was focused on.
Right.
Now we're seeing a shift towards materials.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants different materials, better materials, and that's really coming up.
Now, I think we should go ahead and get into it because we did a little tour around the 3D printing area and we saw a whole bunch of really cool different materials being used at all these different companies. So why don't you walk me through a couple of those really cool ones that we saw?
Well, to start off, we of course will start with the most expensive one that we saw out there, which was the Markforged printer.
Oh yeah.
This one is a really cool one because it's actually a stintering, a laser stintering machine, and it will print in metals.
Okay.
And I don't say like print with metal and the filaments like we talked about in previous episodes. It will print actual aluminum in a little bonding agent, and then you put it in an oven, and it becomes this solid metal part that's just as strong as any aluminum or steel part that you can get off a solid piece of aluminum.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible being able to look at one of the pieces where they had actual threading that was printed into the material. It was incredible.
The accuracy of the threading, so for like an M3 bolt, the threads actually still work in there, and it's metal threads, so it's definitely a lot more durable.
Now, obviously, something like that isn't made for a consumer market. That printer itself was what, over $100 grand?
About $125,000 by the time you're done.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not buying one.
A little pricey.
I don't think you're buying one.
No.
So, but that's probably the most interesting material one that's out there.
Okay, cool.
Other interesting things that are out there is that a company called Polymaker has a polisher now. And what it does is their filament, you put it in your printer, and when you print it out, they have a separate machine that you put your part into and use a normal isopropyl alcohol that you get at a drugstore.
Yeah.
It will smooth the surface, make it really shiny, and actually make the part a little bit stronger.
I love that idea, especially because there's a lot of cosplayers who do 3D printing, and of course they usually will like shine it themselves and then they'll paint over it. If you could print out the thing in the color that you need for your cosplay and then just stick it in the machine to make it all shiny for the cosplay, and that makes it stronger in the meantime, like cool, that's perfect.
Now it works by vaporizing the alcohol into the air,
right,
which anybody that knows makes it's a pretty flammable effect.
That's flammable, yeah.
And people have been doing this on the side in their basements without any sort of safeties, and there's been a few fires.
Oh,
I have a few.
I've read some news about some fires in basements by doing that.
And they're at least making their machine with some safeties on it.
Okay.
So it can't open until all the vapors settle to the bottom. It's a lot safer way to do it, and they also don't bring it up to extreme temperatures. They're not using flame. They're just using more like those vaporizers the kids are using these days, and they're using that to kind of atomize everything into the air. So it's a great way to do that one.
Now we also saw some really cool printers being used with SLA.
So yeah, they're using UV light, and most of them use like an LCD screen or something like that to do it.
So weird.
But they'll use a liquid resin,
yeah,
and that's starting to become popular. That, in my opinion, is going to be the next little rush on all of the Kickstarters and Indiegogos and all that. We're going to see those style printers popping up more.
It's so interesting watching them print too, how they start from the top and work their way down in the levels.
And they start top and down, and then they also print upside down, which makes it even more interesting.
So strange. But they can get this incredibly defined print afterwards, and you mentioned to me that they use this a lot in dental.
Yes, and it's that type of, I mean, the resolution of that is much finer than you're seeing in more normal FDM printers.
Okay.
And dental's really popular. There's a couple manufacturers out there that are making printers just for dental. And it's actually small enough, and they have little cartridges you put in, and it's just enough to do one denture set.
That's so fascinating.
And they're trying to do the software.
I feel like I wish this was around when I was a kid and I had to get braces and stuff and wear the retainer.
Well, that's how like the company like Invisalign and stuff like that, that they make their molds off of those type of technologies.
Yeah.
We saw over at the Formlabs, there's actually, Formlabs is an SLA printer that's out there. They were actually doing a 3D scan to people's ears so that they can do earbuds to custom printed
I need to go back there and do that. That'd be so cool.
I think you'd have fun with that one.
I think one of my favorites too, and this one is like up and coming. I haven't heard too much about them yet, but they were doing the full color printing. I thought that was really gorgeous, but I don't know, how's the quality on those machines?
Well, that's the DaVinci XYZ printing. They have a new AIO, which actually has a 3D scanner plus the printer and does color printing. And what it's doing is it's doing normal FDM printing, but after it does each layer, it uses standard inkjet to put color down on that layer.
Oh, I see.
Which is kind of neat. The company, it's interesting to watch their products. They've had some quality controls and the issues. They've been working on them, and they're trying to make more reliable machines. So it's going to be interesting. But this one, when you see a full color printer for under $4,000, you're definitely in a whole new realm.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So, which is nice.
What about Lulzbot?
Oh, Lulzbot.
I'm so excited to talk. Oh, and disclaimer, I should mention, since we did the Hack 5 series, Lulzbot sent us a printer that we could use on the show, and we have it in our warehouse now. So we have a TAS 6 back at the warehouse. But let's talk about what they've introduced, because they were one of the only companies, if not the only one, that was introducing brand new accessories for their 3D printers.
Yeah, they're the only ones at the show in the FDM line that I said, oh, there's something new here.
Yeah.
Everybody else had something that I already knew about.
Right.
And they actually released all new tool heads this year.
Yay!
Which I love their tool heads. They're actually using the E3D hot ends, which anybody in the 3D printer world knows that's definitely the premier hot end.
Yeah, totally.
I love the story that they actually kind of twisted the knife on them and made them go full open source. And then they said,
so great. That's awesome.
And they're like, now we're actually going to do it. We're actually going to use your heads.
I'm very excited about that.
Which made the heads lighter and stuff like that. But now, in the past, you had to have two different heads if you want to do flexible filaments and firm filaments. Now, with their new heads, which are cheaper than their old heads, you can do both on the same head.
Yay! That's awesome.
They also released a dual head for the TAS 6.
Yes.
They released new heat beds for all their printers. They're showing off a new computerless LCD screen for the Mini, which was out here.
I love that it looks like a Game Boy too.
It looks like a little Game Boy. It's very cute.
Which is great though, because similar to like the TAS 6, you can just stick your SD card into the side of it with whatever your prints are that you want to do, and then you just press a button and there it goes.
And you can go and you don't have to leave your laptop plugged in.
Into a computer, yeah.
You know, because no one wants to leave the laptop on all night.
That's great for like a classroom setting where you don't want to leave a laptop there and you just want the 3D printer to go all night or something like that. Perfect.
Now, one of the cool things that Lulzbot did this year, and I think it's a cool thing for CES, they actually brought all their manufacturing team out here, and they've been assembling printers here on the floor to show people the complete assembly process.
Cool. Yeah, I've never seen a company do that before.
And they're actually building 20 of them, and they're giving them away online to a bunch of people, and they're like their own little Vegas version. So they were definitely, you know, my one of my favorite FDM printers this year.
Yeah.
The other one that was really good was the Razer 3D guys.
Oh yeah.
They're making really large format printers that actually have really good build volume, fully enclosed. A lot of power outage issues. We're at CES and they survived.
Power went out yesterday.
They survived the blackouts of
so
CES.
I'm glad they did.
Which is great. They have nice touch screens.
Yeah.
And they're getting fairly large build volumes. They're getting 300 millimeters by 300 millimeters. Some I think go up to 500 millimeters tall in some of their configurations. And they're doing dual extruders, which is neat.
So pretty.
So it's a really pretty machine.
Yeah.
They're doing really well. But you're looking at, as far as other FDMs that are out there, there wasn't much else going on. It was definitely the Lulzbot.
Yeah.
They were the only ones that brought something new. Raze finally came out. They don't do much marketing, so I like to, you know, talk about them when I can because they're the secret good printer out there in the market.
Right. Well, I think it's really exciting still with the 3D printing genre because we are still seeing a lot of interesting innovation in the technology, and it's becoming a lot more consumer friendly too.
Yes.
So even though the area at CES was smaller, it seems like it's more defined.
It's definitely more defined, and you're not sorting through a bunch of junk printers this year.
Yes, exactly. And that confused the crap out of me last year. So I'm really happy that it's more defined and smaller.
I only saw about 4 or 5 junk printers this year.
Well, good.
Compared to last year where it was hundreds upon hundreds.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, where can people find you if they want to find out more about what's going on in 3D printing and everything that you do?
Well, they can check us out over at printedsolid.com. We have a nice little blog there, and that's where usually whenever I come up with some little tech notes or how-tos, I usually put it there.
Yeah.
They can also do it on our Facebook. You know, we have our own Facebook page.
Perfect.
If you message on that, odds are I'll probably be the guy that's reading it anyways. But we do that type of thing, and we're also on Twitter and all the other places.
And Dave, before I forget, where do you see 3D printing going this year? Do you think that we're going to see even more innovation?
I think we're going to see a lot more materials.
It's the year for materials, apparently.
It's the years for materials. I have to tell you, I know of about 5 companies that are all launching new materials this year alone.
Wow.
But I'm not seeing any new 3D printer companies.
Okay.
By comparison.
That's good to know.
3D printers have definitely matured to the point that it's really hard to justify upgrading for a lot of people these days.
Cool. Well, we can focus on the good quality products that are currently on the market and now focus on new materials and playing with those.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David, for coming on the show. Remember, you can check them out over at printedsolid.com. Thank you so much. Love having you here, and it's always wonderful to hang out with my old best friend. So great. If you want to find out more about what's going on at CES 2018, hit up youtube.com/TekThing or TekThing.com, or you can tweet me. I'm @Snubs. What's your Twitter handle?
@DRandolph.
There you go.
TekThing CES 2018, I'm Patrick Norton, and let us talk about a couple of new laptops from here at CES. Lenovo X1 Carbon and the Lenovo X1 Yoga, probably on the short list for professional laptops for most people, and a lot of folks who use laptops professionally use them for entertainment when they travel and at home, which makes the addition of Dolby Vision HDR into these laptops, the first Dolby Vision laptops announced that we know of, pretty cool if you're slated for an upgrade and you love your Netflix. Now, 14-inch screens in both the 2.49-pound Carbon and the 3-pound Yoga. They are going to be bright, 500 nits bright. They're not 4K though, they're WQH. That's 2560 by 1440. Think of it as a 3K, not a full 4K. But frankly, HDR is a lot more interesting for your eyeballs than more pixels. Now, something I love about this, the webcam is above the screen. I use a Dell XPS 13, so I got to bring that up. And it includes the Think Shutter camera privacy device. It's a physical cover that closes off the webcam. No more stickers, no more sticky notes on your laptop. Now, Lenovo says the built-in twin mics, aka the 360-degree far-field communication mics, will let you get your Skype on from up to 4 meters away from the laptop. And they support wake-on voice function. You can ask MS Cortana questions even if the lid is closed, and they're going to support Amazon's Alexa too. The rest of the specs, pretty much what you're looking for out of a top-tier laptop. Intel 8th Gen Core processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM max, global 4G LTE capability in both laptops, Type-C charging, the usual excellent Lenovo keyboards, and the Yoga includes an integrated pen if you're the artistic kind of person or you just love taking notes. Now, they're going to be shipping this month. The ThinkPad X1 Carbon starts at $1,709, the ThinkPad X1 Yoga at $1,889. Lenovo.com for more info, and for more TekThing CES 2018, head on over to TekThing.com or YouTube.com/TekThing. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, I'm back with another segment from CES 2018, and I got a killer one about virtual reality, which is something that I was really looking forward to when I stepped onto the floor of this convention hall. And this was actually the HTC Vive Pro. So Nvidia invited me to their suite a couple of days ago, and I got to play raw data on the HTC Vive Pro, which was introduced right here at CES. So the Vive Pro has these insane updates to the specs from the original Vive. So now you get 2880 by 1600 resolutions, which ends up being 1440 by 1600 per eye, which is a 78% increase from the original. That's insane. And 615 pixels per inch. So that's a 37% increase from the original. You also get 90 hertz refresh rates, 110 degrees field of view, which honestly, they could still work on that a little bit more because my peripheral vision was not that great in the game. And something that stood out to me with the resolution in this platform was text on the screen. So when you're in the game, for example, in raw data, you see all this text on the wall, and it's usually kanji, it's Japanese kanji. It's very, very thin with the lines for all the different strokes of the language. When you're reading it with the HTC Vive, the original, I would expect to have to maybe squint, or I would have to move the headset around a little bit to actually see it very well. And in the case of the HTC Vive Pro, I didn't have to do that. The lines were much more precise, much more defined, and a lot more clear than the original one was. I also noticed while I was playing the game, and you can see here from my B-roll, I jumped away from an Android as they were flying at me from behind, and it scared the crap out of me because the gaming looks so realistic with this higher resolution. Now, you will still notice some pixels, but it's not as obvious as the original, which means that while you're in the game, you're a lot more immersed with the technology. When I got to put it on, it blocks out almost all of the light. I have somewhat of a flat nose, so I was still able to see below me, see down to the floor below me, and I was able to lean up and look at my camera if I needed to check the frame or anything like that and make sure I was still in frame. But overall, it blocked out most of the light from the room that I was in. You'll also notice that I wear glasses, so I was worried that it might squeeze my head a little bit too much on the sides, or it might press them in too much against my eyeballs, which would hurt. With the HTC Vive Pro, I didn't have that issue, so when I put them on, it was really comfortable around the frame, so I didn't have any problems with that. It seemed to mold around the side of my frames too, so the two legs that go behind the ears, so I didn't have any problems with those squeezing too hard against my ears. They also have adjustable headsets, so when you put those on, you can adjust them a little bit farther away from your ears if you need to, or a little closer and get them tighter if you prefer that. So I didn't have any problems with those squeezing my ears too much and getting tiring after a while of playing. To adjust the frame of the headset, it's still pretty similar to the original HTC Vive. There's a little Velcro top part that you can switch back and forth, and there's a screw on the back to tighten it. When you do tighten it, you do sense it getting tighter. If you tighten it too much, obviously it will hurt, so don't do that. I was worried about taking it off and having it pull at my hair, but that didn't end up being an issue at all, which is great. The on-ear headphones also cover most of the noise from real life or RL, and they do use high-res audio, which is wonderful. Now, there are two different settings. There's alert and conversation, so if you do need to hear what's going on around you in real life, then you can totally do so. They also announced the HTC Vive wireless adapter. Now, unfortunately, I did not get to play with the wireless adapter. I was still tethered, just like you are with the original, but this is the first time that I've seen a really good idea for wireless virtual reality gaming, and I can't wait to play with that myself. Now, there is no price point yet, but it will ship sometime this year. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it happens soon because I really want to get hands-on more with the HTC Vive Pro. If you want to learn more about virtual reality, because that's something I'm really interested in as well, definitely hit me up. I'm at Snubs on Twitter, or you can check out our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/TekThing, and make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying these CES videos. I will talk to you next time on another video from the show floor. Bye.
TekThing from CES 2018. I'm Patrick Norton, and let us talk about storage because everybody needs more storage. If you're looking for another way to get your 3, 2, 1 backups that we're always telling you to do, let us talk about the CES 2018 announcements from Western Digital and SanDisk. Now, a couple of years ago, I doubled the storage on my old XPS 13 for like a year and a half with a SanDisk UltraFit. That's one of these tiny guys. I could have tripled it with the new 256 gigabyte SanDisk UltraFit, going to be $149. It's the world's smallest 256 gigabyte drive, USB 3.1. The phrase they're coming up with from the crew at SanDisk is plug and stay. And given that I plugged this into a side of a laptop and left it there for a year, I could totally be down with that. And this will fit anywhere. That space behind the router, if you don't want to plug a big USB drive in there, or any of your devices, your console, something that needs a little bit more storage. This has a lot of potential. Laptop, media servers, routers, whatever. Now, if your laptop only has Type-C USB, don't worry. Imagine, if you will, a tiny 1 terabyte USB-C thumb drive. Those are on the way. Now, if you're thinking about small, fast storage on the go, check out the SanDisk Extreme Portable SSD. IP55, dustproof, water resistant. I want to say it's like 30 minutes at 1 meter. Don't leave it under the water. Pull it out quickly, but it won't be destroyed. This thing looks slick. $129 for a 200 gigabyte version. 1 terabyte is going to run $399. 2 terabyte, well, we don't have pricing on that, but this thing is tiny, like half the size of a pack of cards, and it should be super fast. For the pros out there that want to back up their photo shoots, drone footage, or well, anything a whole lot faster, the My Passport Wireless has now gone SSD. This is a big update to the My Passport Wireless Pro that's been out for the last year or two. Those are regular hard drives, like 1 terabyte's $149, 4 terabytes is $219. And again, photographers, videographers, drone pilots, plug your SD card into it, it automatically adjusts the content. One-touch card copy is slick. Battery will power it for 10 hours. They say it's good to go for 4K wireless streaming. 1 meter drop endurance, although I suggest you not test that. Raw image previews are available inside of that. Oh, and it's a wireless access point too. You can attach it to Wi-Fi or to your MyCloud network at home. 2 terabytes for $799, 250 gigabytes for $229, 1 terabyte for $499. There's other sizes in there, so it's a lot more expensive than the regular hard drive version, but it's going to be a lot faster. And if you're in the field trying to get video copied off your SD cards as fast as you can, that is a good thing. More tech coming at you from CES 2018. Head over to TekThing.com or YouTube.com/TekThing. Shannon's got videos, I've got videos. The best of CES 2018 televisions is going to be up there. Go get your tech on, people. I'm Patrick Norton. Thank you so much for watching.
Hey everyone, Shannon Morse here from CES 2018 and TekThing. We have our own stage. Kind of cool, right? Well, I'm actually running over to the LG booth. I got a booth tour booked with them and I can't wait to check out everything over there. So let's go ahead and head that way. So the first thing I wanted to hit up was the OLED Canyon. So this thing has 250 displays set up with 2 billion pixels total. Of course, they have the most gorgeous HDR film going on in there, and it was really pretty. It was a nice example of what LG is working on with their technology. They also had on display the A9 processing chip. So this enhances the picture quality by removing any kind of banding or noise and increasing sharpness of items that are in focus on an image, so it makes them stand out a little bit more. They also have better color accuracy too, with 7.3 times more data points than the older TVs that you would see on the market. Next up, they took me over to the brand new LG AI OLED ThinQ TV display. This is the 77W8 4K HDR display that they had over there. This one apparently has higher peak brightness. It's 1000 nits, so it's very similar to the Nvidia ones that we also saw on the market. They also have an A9 processor, 120 frames per second capability, so pretty high up there, and Dolby Vision as well. Also, Google Assistant is built in, which is great if you like Google Assistant on a TV, but luckily in this case you actually have to press a button to make Google Assistant start listening to you, which I would prefer. However, I'm a security nerd, so I like dumb TVs, even though apparently those don't exist anymore. They also had a great demo of their nanocell display technology. So this helps improve the color accuracy of the displays, so you get much better viewing angles. The nanocell film goes over filtration, so their filtration layer, to purify the reds, the greens, and the blues. So you end up with this really, really bright, rich, accurate color that you wouldn't normally get, especially if you're viewing a TV from a terrible angle. They also apparently absorb ambient light instead of reflecting it, so that's supposed to help with glare, and it has a full array of backlighting. So not only do you get those richer colors, but you also get those deeper blacks as well. Now, of course, Chloe was also on display predominantly all over the LG booth, which was kind of funny, but it's really cute. So I enjoyed looking at it and watching it blink, basically. But my guide specifically mentioned that Chloe is not meant to be a connecting hub. A lot of people think that it's supposed to be the thing that everything connects to. It's not. It's supposed to be there to teach you and learn about you and create a better experience with the AI that's built into Chloe. Everything else that they have on display is what it can work with, but not necessarily connect to. So it's not a hub. That part is very important. Now, of course, I did check out the appliances. They all seem to have voice assistants built in as well. There was a refrigerator. It had voice assistants built in. Why? Why do we have voice assistants in refrigerators? That seems so weird to me. Now, one missing thing that I did not notice on display at the LG booth was the roll-up display that they were showing off, and like everybody got to check out except for me. But Robert Heron did get to check it out, so we're going to ask him what he thought of it on another video. If you want to see more booth tours like this, future CES conventions, or this one in general, let me know. You can tweet me at Snubs, or I am over at youtube.com/TekThing. I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Hey everyone, Shannon Morse here from CES 2018, and today is my last day on the Convention Center Hall, but I wanted to tell you about a meeting that I had just last night with Nvidia. It was so cool. I got to see these BFGDs, these big format gaming displays. That's what they're calling them, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Why don't you take a look? So turned off, the 65-inch display just looks like a normal TV. Nothing new there. It's 65 inches, yay. Turned on though, they turn into the most gorgeous monitors that I have ever seen, especially for ones that are plugged into a PC. Yes, this monster is plugged into a PC. So the demo that they showed us was actually playing Destiny 2 off of a 1080i PC. So of course you're not going to see any kind of tearing or anything like that because they are running that really nice GPU as it is. The monitor also has Omen branding, as you will notice. So obviously they have partnered with Acer, Asus, and HP. No wonder. Now, this monitor does support 4K, it supports HDR, and 120 Hz refresh rates, and they use AU Optronics panels, and it's directly backlit LEDs with 1,000 nits of brightness, so it's crazy, crazy bright, especially little things like those little lanterns that you see all over in Destiny 2. But it also features a DCI P3 color gamut, so you get really, really nice, accurate colors and a really wide range. Now, of course, since this was with Nvidia, we get G-Sync technology, and y'all know how much I love G-Sync technology, so you gotta plug this into a display port to use the G-Sync tech with the PC, although it also features HDMI 2.0B, not 2.1, which is kind of unfortunate. Although I can say, speaking from experience with some previous games and monitors that I've gotten to review in-house, playing with G-Sync makes an incredibly huge difference. If you are used to screen tearing, you lose all that screen tearing whenever you're playing with G-Sync. It's so smooth, it's so buttery. Now, they also had Nvidia Shield built in for game and video streaming. I'm not gonna go over all those features because you're probably already familiar with that since it is the Nvidia Shield technology, but the game is the really killer feature here. Now, I did get to play some gaming myself. I've never played Destiny 2 before, so give me a break with the FPS. It's been a while. but I did notice that it was really, really smooth. There was no lag whenever I was messing with it. There was no tearing or any issues that I noticed. It was gorgeous. Now, there is no cost or release dates yet, which I'm not surprised about since Nvidia was showing us these, and the brands will probably come out with those prices and release dates later on this year. However, I really like them, but it's probably going to be rather expensive when they do hit the market. These are going to be for your hobbyists that actually have room to either replace a current television that they have or put it in their gaming central room, wherever that might be. For me, it would be my woman cave. If you want to see more from CES 2018 and Nvidia, make sure to check out all of my videos over at youtube.com/TekThing, or you can tweet at TekThing and tell us what you want to see for the rest of the day. I will be there, and I will also be back at home tomorrow. I'm kind of excited about that. I'll talk to you later. Bye.